take another look. We're not sure if we'll be able to come back in here to show you, so we wanted to make sure. We really believe that the public has a constitutional right to see what's going on here, so that's why we're here to document. So people have been pretty diligent about staying away from the electrical stuff because it's dangerous. There's also, to the right, there's some pumping infrastructure that it requires large amounts of pressure to move the sludgy tar sands oil. I mean, it's diluted. So this pipeline is moving diluted bitumen, which is tar sands oil, which is like molasses or peanut butter texture. And then they mix it with dilutants, it's actually a trade secret what's in them. We know that it's toxic and can cause cancer and birth defects, but it's an oil and gas industry trade secret is what they call it. So we don't know what's in it, but we do know it's really bad for people when leaks happen or when people are near the industrial sites that process these things. It's really not good for people. There's carcinogens. We just don't know exactly what cocktail is in there. But it definitely includes benzene, which is a known carcinogen, and various, I forget the exact acronym, but it's like highly volatile organic compounds. Sorry, we studied up for this, but the heat is baking my brain. What's up?
You could ask her again how she's still doing, and ask her how the pattern.
Okay. Not everyone. We're not 5-year-olds playing soccer.
Would you be down to talk then briefly?
Sure.
Just like an update?
Sure. You don't want me to walk down to myself again, do you?
No, it's whatever you want.
I mean, I will if you want. But
No,
I'll just sit
here. I'll try to get in the shade a little bit.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's fine. So we spoke with you this morning about why you came out here, why you wanted to shut down this equipment, just how it's been maybe 4 or 5 hours now. How are you feeling about how the day's been going now?
I am feeling awesome. They just tried the cutest intimidation tactic where they try to send down their helicopters on us and send all types of dirt flying at us.
What was that like when the helicopter was buzzing y'all really low over here?
It was funny. It was laughable. It's time for them to get the fuck out of here. I'm feeling good. Switched up my sides, but that's for my safety reasons from the sun. But I'm still here. We're still doing good. And we're just waiting. Till then, I'm fueling up with my fruits. And I'm amped. I'm ready. This is what we've been waiting for. This is a movement.
Were you able to hear what the helicopter was saying? I couldn't really hear all of it. Like I heard some of it, or were you able to make it out?
I didn't make any of it out. And isn't that the way they set it up for you? Use their nice loud choppers and then come in and with their little whack bullhorn and try to make a message, and no, we're not gonna hear it. But hey, do you? I'm sitting out here playing games. We're ready. We've been ready, as you can see. And still, fuck Enbridge. Still. And what would you say? It's been about 4 or 5 hours?
I think so. I mean, I think we arrived here about 8 when there was already people here, give or take.
12:30.
So
yeah. So it's good. I'm ready. Listen, I'll stay here all night if I got to. Want round 2? We can do round 2. We can treat it like a boxing match and go round 3. Either way, I'm ready. This isn't a fucking game. Not for anybody. Especially not for indigenous people. Like I said earlier, all this shit brings is man camps and bullshit. Fuck them all.
So for anyone who doesn't know what a man camp is, could you tell us?
So, it's pretty much what we're sitting on, basically. A lot of out-of-state people will come into things like this to do their work. And in the process of that, with their intense hate towards natives in general, our sacred women are under attack because, well, they're sacred. We're sacred. We're the bearers of life. So if the more they can take of us out, the better. So, I mean, this whole thing just has so much tied into it. It's more than just, a pipeline, because there's an intense hate for natives out in this world. And there has been since 1492 when Columbus got lost. That motherfucker was found. He didn't discover shit. So now, with all of that, we got to protect our sisters too. They're important. And I don't give a shit what any type of settler, what any type of any other body out there has to say, because they're not under attack like Indigenous women. So I'm sorry, but if this is my way to keep them out and to keep them from being around, go. I'll stand right here. This is because there's more tied into it. You know, it's ugly. It's one big ugly game, and in the process, they're trying to put, they're not trying, they're putting lives in danger with a pipeline. And like I said, with their man camps coming in, I'm setting up. Sorry.
It's all right.
I gotta keep hydrated here, but just look around you. This is all danger, and this is danger to our sisters and our women, and I can't express that enough. I'm sick and tired of our people being under attack. I'm sick and tired of our women being under attack. I'm sick and tired of our children's futures being under attack. So?
Yeah, I guess, is there anything else that you'd want to say? So it's like, we think a lot of people are watching, probably the police are watching, probably a lot of, like, just what do you think? Is there anything you want to say, I guess, to anyone?
No. Hi, Mom. Hi, kids. I know what I said when I left, but you know your mom. I'm here. And for anybody else out there that is more than willing to do this, to stand up and fight for your water, fight for your land, fight for everything. There is no planet B. There's none. Get the fuck up and fight. All of us had fires ignited in us to stand up and do what we do. And if you're feeling the same way, come out and do it. Doesn't necessarily have to be bodies on the line. You can be just here, keeping us safe from them trying to come in. But just get up and do it. Like Taboo said, stand up, because the time is now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Again. Stay safe. No, I'm good. I got all types of, they got me lined up over here.
So we just heard from one of the water protectors that we interviewed when they were locked down earlier this morning. I think we spoke with them around 8:30 or 9, so they've been out here for most of 4 hours at this point. It's definitely hot. We're getting a little bit of cloud cover and breeze now to sort of relieve the heat, but there's still dozens, maybe 100 people just within the actual fenced-off work compound here at the 2 Inlets pump station for the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline. There was a Homeland Security helicopter flying over, broadcasting some sort of message that you couldn't really hear over the helicopter. The helicopter is very loud. They were flying low, and it seemed like they were intentionally buzzing and kicking up clouds of dust in the area to try to disperse people. It seemed to just kind of aggravate and inspire the crowd, who has moved to just fortify the area more heavily. We showed you some of the blockades that have been set up with repurposed construction materials by the entrance. People are still, just from where I'm standing right here, I can't see the whole work site. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of construction equipment, which each have several individuals on them. The idea being that you can't really move or use those machines safely with people on them. Different materials are still getting moved around. There's at least 6 tents have been set up, so it seems like people will be setting up an occupation here. Again, this is the 2 Inlets pump station for the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline. We're in Hubbard County in northern Minnesota. The Hubbard County Sheriff has been responding. I've only seen maybe 4 or 5 deputies, like 2 to 4 state troopers have been present. Also 2 vehicles from the Beltrami County Sheriff showed up. There's mutual aid agreements and stuff where different county sheriffs dealing with protest activity along the pipeline route will help each other out. They'll cross-train. They've already done a lot of training for how to deal with civil disobedience tactics and stuff like that. They've been training under state guidance, but also with the military, with the Minnesota National Guard at Camp Ripley, which is a military base in Minnesota. So it's due to Enbridge. So Enbridge is a Canadian company. They're a private corporation, a for-profit corporation, one of the largest corporations in the world. I think they're the third largest corporation in Canada. They've, because these pipelines are designated as critical infrastructure, it's treated as a public good, and they enjoy a highly privileged relationship with law enforcement as a result of that designation, even though most of this oil is going to be shipped to the Gulf for export. So it's going to refineries in Wisconsin. The pipeline leaves Alberta, clips through North Dakota, crosses through a lot of northern Minnesota, then ends in Superior, Wisconsin, so the tar sands oil, like we said before, it's basically like peanut butter or molasses. It's like sand with bits of oil stuck in it, like it hadn't evolved or cooked underground into real oil all the way. So they mix it with a secret mixture of substances that we don't know what they are, but they're probably things like benzene that cause cancer. We know that it's carcinogenic, but the actual contents are a trade secret. So doctors who treat people near oil spills from the pipeline don't actually know exactly what they're treating people for exposure to. But we do know that it's not anything you want to be anywhere near or ingest or touch. But so that oil, it's some of the dirtiest oil on the market. Like, it's not really crude. It's tar sands crude oil, so it burns really dirty. So it contributes to climate change at a higher rate than ordinary crude oil, which is also pretty bad for the climate. Catastrophic climate change seems basically like an unavoidable, disastrous reality in the coming decades unless fossil fuel emissions are cut at a pretty drastic rate. The Biden administration has made some overtures towards cutting carbon emissions. They did cancel the northern leg of the Keystone XL pipeline. People here have either given up on Biden doing anything and are saying we're going to do it ourselves, which we see here, or a lot of people involved are also still campaigning for Biden to intervene, basically saying, like, you can stop this from becoming another Standing Rock crisis if you just shut down the pipeline. But so, so people are here to shut it down. Things are still pretty shut down, at least here at the Two Rivers pump station, which is partially completed, but it looks like most of it is not built. The concrete over there, you can still see some of the rebar coming out of the concrete. So we saw a concrete truck drive by earlier. I'm not sure if it was for this site or somewhere else, but there's still, like, they would be building out this infrastructure here. Like, some parts of the earth here aren't even cleared yet to put in more machines for the pipeline route, which is just to the right of the frame you're seeing now. Over the other side of the fence is where the actual cleared earth, where the Line 3 replacement line will go, is. So it's kind of a relatively calm atmosphere. Things were definitely tenser when the Homeland Security helicopter was buzzing people, flying very low. I think sometimes just, dozens of feet off the ground. There was a more confrontational moment earlier where a white van pulled up on the highway that intersects with this access road. People were unloading supplies like paper towels and bottles of water, I think maybe coolers with snacks out of the van. A Minnesota state trooper basically told the driver, like, if you don't drive away right now, you're going to jail. So people quickly threw a bunch of supplies out of the van, and the van drove away. That's the most direct, like, face-to-face confrontation from law enforcement we've seen. Earlier we saw a police liaison for the water protectors doing this direct action was telling a sheriff's deputy from the Hubbard County Sheriff's Office, like, hey, we don't really have any leaders. People are all here making their own decisions, but I can relay what you're saying to them. The sheriff's deputy was calm and polite, but also voicing frustration or kind of being like, well, then why are you, if you can't represent them, like, what's your role? Like, I don't get it. Kind of trying to be like, hey, come on, like, who's the leader? Like, who do we, so that the lack of law enforcement's ability to, like, directly find a specific person to pressure in regards to this situation, I think that's not quite the model they're usually used to, although they have been training and studying different direct action tactics, so I wonder if the police are preparing some sort of response right now. My guess would be they're preparing a larger platoon, maybe of state troopers or of county sheriffs from different jurisdictions. And what we've seen in other occupations, police will maybe wait till the later hours, or especially with the heat, the police like to make time their ally, where they basically let people tire themselves out, so then when they do move in on the crowd, the individuals in the crowd are less energetic or maybe more dehydrated. So they're, but I don't know if it's that sort of deliberate strategy or if they're just still getting numbers together, being like, what do we do? So we'll try to file some records requests after the fact, and so we can see what some of the planning is. I would imagine they're speaking directly with Enbridge, and the sheriffs along the pipeline route have said, we don't work for Enbridge, we're not private security, but there is an escrow account administered by state officials, but it's funded by Enbridge. So not all kinds of equipment, like not tear gas, but things like riot gear, things like hours worked, like expenses for using vehicles, things like gas masks, things like holsters for riot batons are getting paid for with money from the oil company. The Minnesota Public Utilities Commission had them set up as a condition for approving the pipeline. The Public Utilities Commission was like, well, we know there's going to be a lot of protests, a lot of direct action, so basically like set aside a sum of millions of dollars for the police to take money from to reimburse themselves. So that's a controversial and new and novel arrangement that I think they've already accessed most of $1 million, according to reporting by Will Parrish and Aileen Brown for The Intercept. Over $900,000 of this oil company money has already gone directly to county sheriffs and local law enforcement along the pipeline route, including some where the pipeline doesn't run through their county, but they're adjacent and could be maybe expected to, they call it mutual aid agreements. So we'll see. I mean, if things escalate, we could maybe even see Minnesota bringing in state troopers from other states during an unrest while Derek Chauvin was still on trial for murdering George Floyd, and when Dante Wright was murdered by Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter. The protests were getting pretty unruly. I think the police presence was already very large and basically in control, but they brought in state troopers from Nebraska and from Ohio, which both border Minnesota, I believe. So that's another, this is all speculation on my part, to be clear. But the ability to deploy large forces to deal with large crowds is a recurring issue for law enforcement in these more rural areas where large anti-pipeline mobilizations are happening. So currently it doesn't seem like law enforcement's ready to move in. People are continuing to make their own use of the site. Some people seem to be setting up to get cozy for the night. Many people are still on or in some of the machines here. People are moving different things around. So yeah, this is the Two Inlets pump station in Hubbard County in northern Minnesota for the Enbridge Line 3 oil pipeline. There's been a large gathering. It's called the Treaty People's Gathering. Over 3,000 people have been gathered at, I believe it's called the Pure Bliss Ranch on the White Earth Reservation. Forgive me if some of my geography is wrong, but I believe that's right. And so I think there's a march of at least 1,000 or 2,000 people that also marched to the headwaters of the Mississippi River today. So that, I believe, is still ongoing. We'll try to bring you some media from that as well, maybe tonight or in the coming days. So yeah, this has been Chris with Unicorn Riot. Alex was hosting earlier and is working the camera now. Thanks Dee or Nico or whoever has been working the back end for us on the UR studio end. We're gonna keep the stream up, but I'm gonna take a little hydration break, and I think we'll try to catch some shade, maybe move you back to the road and just show what's going on there. So yeah, thanks for following. We'll try to do our best to keep you updated about the situation here. Today is a very interesting day. Okay, so we're actually going to take our live stream down in a second here. We should be able to bring it back up. The connection here seems pretty solid. We don't believe any sort of jamming or anything is being done by the authorities. That might change. So definitely keep following us. We'll be on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. We're also streaming on Twitch now, I believe. Unicorn Riot is a 501c3 educational nonprofit. We're only able to have the equipment to get this good of a network connection, to have this equipment to show to you, to be able to travel to these remote areas, thanks to support from viewers like you. So we really appreciate everyone that's put us in the position to be able to cover this for you like this. If you're someone who has disposable income, our operation is always, we don't run ads, we don't put anything ever behind a paywall, and that's because people that have just a few extra dollars, maybe more than a few, or just 50 cents or something, you can go to unicornriot.ninja/donate. You can either make a one-time donation, or what we really rely on is recurring donors that helps us sort of project our finances in advance. So unicornriot.ninja/donate if you want to support our operation, help us keep going. But we should be coming back up later today. Thanks everyone for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Please hit like on all our pages. Thanks for retweeting our stuff. Really helps us spread the stories we cover. We don't pay for any sort of promotion or anything like that. So we rely on you. But yeah, so this has been a water protectors blockade and direct action at the two inlets pump station. So we're going to take the stream down now. We should be back up. We might be able to tweet some pictures and videos. So thanks for watching. We're going to take the stream down.